Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Die Podcast. I am your host, Mual. AJ is here. Dre is on the way. We may have Linnell. Y'all know Linnell. But Linnell may be coming through later. We're gonna see. But yeah, we got a couple people coming through. Still on the way. We're gonna check in with some minicamp updates. With some boots on the ground. On this episode, man. But before we check in with AJ, J Tyler, I see you. Magic, I see you. TJ, I see you. If you are new to the YouTube side, man, make sure that like button, make sure that subscribe button. We definitely appreciate that. On the Twitch side, same thing. Hit that follow button. If you are on the audio side and you are brand new to the podcast, man, hit that follow button. Give us a rating and review. If you like the content, man, we definitely appreciate it. And it's free to do so in terms of support. I have one more thing that I'm going to put out there. I'm going to put it in the the description after the show, or probably do it in a second. Because I didn't think I meant to do this before the show started. But so for those who do know, I won't talk too much about it. But for those who do follow me on socials, you know that I lost a close cousin, last week or early last week or 2 weeks ago now. And because I can't share too much yet, because this thing is ultimately going to be a long process, including court and lawyers and all these things. The family needs as much help as they can get. His mom and his brother, his little brother or younger brother, he ain't little, but his younger brother. So I'm going to put the GoFundMe. I posted it on my social media. You can find me at Let Maul Tell It. Same thing on Twitter, Instagram as well. It's on both of those sites. But I'm going to put it in the show description too, on YouTube and on the podcast side. So if you have $1, if you have a couple dollars that you can spare, anything is appreciated. It's going to help with a long battle ahead. And when I can share more details to tell you what you are helping bring awareness and accountability to, then I can do that. But I have to speak like this. But I'm going to put the description or the link in the description if you all have anything to send or to spare for Bishop and his mother and his younger brother. With that being said, let's go ahead and get the big dog Dre in the building. Fellas, how y'all doing, man?
All good, brother. Sick.
What's going on with you? Oh yeah, you said you had bronchitis, huh? On that on them hookah tips.
What it came down to is the bronchitis.
Yeah, I got bronchitis, man. So I just, I guess like with all the hookahs that was at the table, we sharing. You don't know where people's mouth been, who's breathing within the tubes, all that stuff. So yeah, man, definitely sat my ass down. So I might cough a little bit here and there on the show. I ain't gonna be able to mute myself in time because that's really all I've been doing since we went to Tana's birthday. Like as soon as I got back the next day, I just been coughing. But I should be good to go soon. Got some meds that starting to kick in. So yeah, we should be good. But it's not the hookah per se. It's more so sharing it with association of people. Like, you know, chicks don't want to buy their own damn hookah and shit. They want to smoke good shit.
But AJ, with the hookah, we get those little individual, mouth things or whatever.
You get the tips, but it's still the tubing. Like people could be blowing within the pipe, the tubing of it, like a whole bunch of stuff. And you know, we was there. We smoking hookah from like 6 p.m. until 1 a.m.
You was smoking hookah from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah, that's why I said, yeah. me and Santana, we was smoking the hookah from pretty much 6 until 1 in the morning. So yeah, that's the repercussions.
Crazy, bro. Y'all ain't getting no headaches, bro.
I mean, we passed it. Like that's the problem. We had rotations, and yeah, I didn't really have a headache at all. Because I mean, I know when you smoke hookah like that, you should mix in water or whatever. But I felt great. Like all the drinks I had and the water and not having no food, I felt great.
Okay, all right, man.
Y'all seen the video I shared in the group chat? Y'all was y'all had y'all little cameos in there.
Yeah.
Why you wasn't in none of the videos, AJ? I ain't see you
because I be low key, bro. Like if you ain't Pete, bro, I be chilling, man. I don't like being in the mix like that.
Bro, just know I wasn't gonna bring it up, but it's funny because I was like, first off, AJ is in the video. I'm looking at it now.
I'm in like the fadeaway cut.
Yeah, he had the tail
like I had to be dating a crazy ass chick to be like, oh, I see AJ over there.
Bro, we went over to that junk, bro. When he said pull up, son, I was like, bro, we went over to that junk. I was like, damn, bro, like we going into a section. This man AJ all the way in the back of the section. I'm like, boy, do they know who walking over here? Like who these random I'm trying to watch my mouth, but y'all like
y'all good. Y'all with me, so y'all straight.
Like, yeah, I figured we were straight, but I was like, bro, we don't like I don't. I'm like the person. I'm like, bro, like, can we get some introductions so we can be straight?
Hey,
I was like,
bro, you know,
I just went to Santana. I was like, I went to Santana and Fred, bro.
I didn't even know I had a whole.
Well, I mean, Tanner remember y'all faces from doing the interview, so
he did.
And Lloyd knew me too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so it's like Lloyd also watched live as well, but like Tanner, he raved about our show, how we interviewed him, the questions we asked, you know, how in depth he felt and comfortable. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why I didn't do like a hey, Mual, this is Sonoris. Sonoris,
they did. They came up.
Like
they showed us love.
His brother was there. Everybody, they chill, man. Like Tanner's real laid back, smooth dude, modest. Like he be on some chill shit. If it was somebody else, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't want to make it seem like I ain't think they was.
Nah.
I'm a southern dude. You know what I'm saying? I pull up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, this such and such. This such and such. You know what I'm saying? I got some hospitality in me, bro. AJ was
hold on, real quick. Who is Jay Tyler calling Papa from the shot?
I actually don't know. He said that 2 weeks in a row.
Because it damn sure can't be me.
He's smoking hookah now.
Don't make me start going on your Mr. Brown head ass.
Wait, let me put him up on the screen right quick. Make it fair game, bro.
Make me start going on your Mr. Brown Tyler Perry head ass.
Oh, that's funny. Damn. Okay. All right. Like I said, where we at? What's going on? Wait, who is this? Oh, Will. My bad. Will, Red Zone, Deuce. All right. So, like I said, Linnell should be showing up soon. But in the meantime, we got some news to kind of discuss, man. Minicamp day 1 has went under or has been completed. I think they got 2 more days on schedule. Yeah, 2 more days on schedule. But today, of course, when I try to pop this, where is it? This ad stuff is stupid. All right, here we go. All right, so let's kind of start off from the top. Yesterday was the day that Washington signed or was able to snag Dylan Thompson, Houston Texans director of team development. He signed with Washington Commanders for a similar role. I think there's a couple things that stand out with him. Dylan Thompson, according to Will Anderson himself, was speaking very highly of Dylan Thompson, stating that there is no Will Anderson without Dylan Thompson, period. CJ Stroud raved about Dylan Thompson as well. He helped a lot of players, younger players, obviously acclimate to the NFL. CJ Stroud being the biggest, most notable name from last year, given his success as a rookie with the Houston Texans. CJ said last year, according to Aaron Wilson of KPRC2 in Houston, I think I grew tremendously. I know he's going to be mad at me for this, Dylan Thompson, but he's one of the best human beings that I ever met in my life. There's a ton of people, great people in this organization, but DT has been the main person. He mentioned talking about him like a brother, somebody who loves you no matter what happens on the field. He appreciates that, and he thinks that he's a great person, and one of the reasons why he felt like the Texans was very successful last year. So that's kind of a synopsis from one of the most important players of the Houston Texans franchise on Dylan Thompson. Do we got any quick? He's replacing. What's the name of the guy he's replacing again? Because I asked you.
He's
Malcolm
replacing
Blacken.
Malcolm Blacken.
Malcolm Blacken. We got any quick thoughts on Dylan Thompson?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have like ownership change and coaching changes, especially with this organization, you're gonna see a lot of people that have been in the mix for a long time suddenly get put out of place. Funny enough, while I was working on this event for us in particular, I ran into Malcolm at the facility that been trying to work with, and he told me, he was being let go. They weren't renewing his contract. He's been with the team for a long time, like almost like 15 years. And I knew him from his time at Virginia Tech as well. Um, he's just one of those guys, solid dude, but at some point, you just need a new voice in there, and he's an older guy. Whereas with Dylan Thompson, from what I read, he's like 32 years old. He's gonna come in here. He's gonna be able to relate to the younger, because a lot of the director of player development role, you're really like making sure that your rookies and your first year players are straight. Like, you're spending most of your time with them. You're engaging in conversation with them. That's why you have, the quotes coming out from a CJ Stroud and a Will Anderson. Those guys were picked number 2 and number 3 in the draft. So he spent a lot of time with them, helping them get settled into the Houston community, whether it be housing, it could be restaurants, it could be finding a home church, it could be shopping. Like, they do all those different things. So yeah, I mean, I think with Dylan Thompson, the reviews that you got from him should be helpful for a guy like a Jaden Daniels, who was from the same exact community as CJ Stroud, trying to develop from coming from the West Coast to now being on the East Coast, and all that Washington, D.C. has to offer. You have a big, draft group of players. So I think that, it's a good change. We'll see how it goes for him. He's also adapting to a new organization, new voices as well. But I think that, it can't be nothing but a positive in this regard, to where you now have a guy that has been around the block in a sense. He's a former collegiate player as well. Also a guy that, a lot of the individuals on this team can bounce off conversation with, like, hey, tell me a little bit about Dylan Thompson. They could reach out to the CJ Strouds, the Will Andersons of the world. So, congratulations to him, and I hope he succeeds in his role, and I hope that the players lean on him for advice and guidance and whatever they need on and off the field, and just building a rapport with one another. And I think you can already see those things established. Jaden Daniels threw out the first pitch at the Nationals game, and it looked like the entire rookie group was there as well. Um, so you can see the rapport that they're building. Just keep those things going, because they'll translate to communication on the field and also playing together as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't have much on it, but it's a word that we kind of used with the last regime a lot. And it was a word we had to use because of what we went through with the Dan Snyder era. And now fans are probably a little sick of hearing about the word because we got a lot of smoke blown up our asses with this word. And that word is culture. And the word was used in the Ron Rivera era a lot, as in this is what we're trying to build and this is where we're trying to go. But we never really seen that materialize. I mean, especially towards the end of Ron's tenure, the whole culture went out the window. Like everything was gone. Like it just looked like the same old stuff we have been seeing the whole Daniel Snyder era. But that's the word I'm coming up with when I see all of these hires. Like Dylan Thompson, I mean, Mual and AJ sold the hell out of him, by the way. But just from the quotes from CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, I mean, these are great things to hear because, to be honest with you, I never really understood the totality what a player development guy does. I mean, I just assumed that there's someone who kind of helps the younger players transition. And, I don't know all of the intricate details of what they do or what they provide, but just in listening to some of these quotes from Will Anderson and CJ Stroud, you get a better idea of what this guy or what this position is supposed to entail or what they bring to an organization. And it's important. I mean, this is a big thing. I mean, because you have to get your young guys acclimated to the league and more than just football. If they're not happy, outside of the football field, it's very likely that they're not going to be happy and doing well on the football field and in their job. So it's kind of like that work-life balance. And this is one of those positions that kind of integrates that work-life balance and a healthy work-life balance if you're doing it right. Now, Malcolm Black, and I don't know, everything about him and how good he was. I mean, I'm not going to say he was bad at his job, but we didn't see the player development a lot of times here with a lot of our young guys. I mean, just look at some of the draft picks and, how things went. And this is not all on player development, but that has to play some kind of role, you would think. And then you look at the Houston Texans, who just, obviously had a really successful year with a rookie quarterback and Will Anderson, their other first-round pick last year. These guys excelled. They had 2 rookie of the years. So that's a good thing to come in here with, and it's also just keeps on inspiring me and making me happy and inspiring the confidence that I have in this ownership group in the front office, because they're bringing guys with good reputations from these good organizations. And this didn't happen before. We just didn't see these type of hires where guys believe in these good spots in these good organizations, and they're all wanting to come here and work with Adam Peters and Josh Harris. So this is just another one of those hires that just puts a smile on my face, especially everything I'm hearing. Now we just got to see how it's going to translate to the football field, and I hope that means good things are coming.
Where is all right? So Johnny Newton, we have a Johnny Newton update as well. As we push forward to these things, he was posted on his Instagram story. No more boot, right? So Dan Quinn, before practice started, spoke on Johnny and gave an update. And said that he's currently, to this point, he's hit all the markers he's needed to hit. He's able to do light work as he goes through his recovery. He also mentioned that in terms of training camp, his availability for the start of it is still TBD. So they'll take it week by week with Johnny Newton, which is, I mean, that's encouraging news. Again, week by week. So I don't know what that means in terms of a month from now or a little bit over a month, I guess 5 weeks. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there with Johnny. But I think the most important thing, as we've said X amount of times already, especially when we talked with JB Finley, is he has some room with the people that's in front of him already to take his time this year. Okay, who else do we have on the block? Michael Davis. Do y'all have any thoughts on Michael Davis? I see OG in here. Oh no, that's the wrong question. He said, would you have brought a man in a man cornerback? Oh, I see what he's saying. If you all had the chance. So he mentioned specifically a guy from the UFL, DeAndre Baker. I don't really know much about him, but I do think there was a question. I don't know if we answered this last week, but I do think there was a question about any available free agents that we would consider. Cornerback was definitely one that I was thinking about. I think that was a one spot that I would consider adding another player, maybe 2 more, but really just one, at least for training camp, to see if we can kind of bolster up the competition and see who kind of all stands out like your top 5 moving forward. Because I think that's one of the biggest question marks. Safety, you have a ton of them, but cornerbacks is kind of, it seems kind of thin.
Yeah, I mean, I think at corner they got so many guys. I mean, they still on the roster. They have Christian Holmes, Ben St. Juste, Emmanuel Forbes. Who else? I don't think they kept Wild Goose, or maybe they did. I'm not quite sure. But then you also drafted Mike Sandestrill. You signed a
Mike
Michael
Davis.
Davis. You
Yeah.
signed a Noah Ingbenyat, however you say his name. That was a former first round pick for the Miami Dolphins and was in Dallas with Witt and Dan Quinn. Then you got some undrafted guys in that position. I mean, I don't know how many more corners you want to bring in.
They got a guy from Pittsburgh too, the Steelers, James Pierre, but I know he's more of a special
Yeah,
teams player. But
yeah, they got James Pierre. So it's like with Michael Davis, the player. I mean, he's a tall, lengthy guy. He's a guy that can make a play on the ball, but I mean, he's nothing to really write home about. He's definitely a good piece. As far as like depth, if you need someone that can play the slot or the outside, not necessarily great by any means, but he's someone that, brings in a frame. I think he's probably like 6'2", like I said, long arms. So he kind of fits in with what they've been doing in the past in Dallas, like a lot of press man corner. That's what he got to do with the Chargers. And he also he can do punt return and kickoff return as well. I just think with DeAndre Baker, I ain't really paid too much attention to UFL. With DeAndre Baker, talented guy, just some issues off the field. And the issues that started off the field was actually with a former commander, Quentin Dunbar. They got into their little situation out Miami. Yeah, I'm not really sure if I have any UFL guys on the radar. I know I see also Hakeem Butler mentioned. I mean, none of those guys are going to push the needle or push the team to the next level that they need to get to. If those are the guys that you're counting on, then you're in trouble. Like to possibly make a push and make this team more compelling as a roster and a group overall.
Yeah, and one thing
yeah.
on Hakeem right quick, because they asked about him. Hakeem he's not signed with anyone. He's trying out with the Panthers, so he hasn't like earned a contract or anything. And I'll be quick with my answer to OG. I continue forgetting his name. And that's going to be a theme forever when he hops into the chat. But
You ain't even gonna try to remember that man name, huh?
bro, I'm about to just keep calling him OG, bro. He know who he is. Angry man. But Hakeem, I like Hakeem, bro, but I don't think that's kind of the dynamic aspect. I think of Cam Sims when I think of Hakeem Butler. Cam Sims, obviously the guy who always went up and got it, like in terms of contested catches and things like that. He didn't really create separation. I don't think that's a problem, but Hakeem is also 28. Do your thing, bro. Hope you latch on somewhere, but that's not the type of player that I'm personally looking for. That's all. That's my dog, though. I love Hakeem, bro, especially when he came out of Iowa State. Roger Smith, I knew it. There you go. OG Roger.
Yes,
there you go.
But yeah, my only thing about the UFL players is I think the expectation, if you bring in any UFL guy, is that they're probably going to be competing for the back end of whatever position group they're, competing for. Like you talk about the cornerback and the wide receiver. Now, granted, I don't watch the UFL, so I don't really pay attention to these guys. But again, I mean, these guys wouldn't be coming in expecting to be number one, number two, guys at whatever position group they're playing. They're going to be looking at those end of the roster spots. I mean, with that said, I mean, Washington, especially at the cornerback position, I wouldn't say they're thin. They more so lack the star talent or the star power at the top of that depth chart for the cornerbacks, because you still don't know, how good, or I mean, I think we do have a good grasp on what Ben St. Juste is at this point. I mean, Ben St. Juste is a solid cornerback, and I actually think Michael Davis is kind of in that same mold as a Ben St. Juste. Those tall, physical type of corners that don't really make many plays on the ball, but they're pretty solid in coverage. I mean, those two kind of one of the same. The jury's still out there on Emmanuel Forbes. Obviously, just drafted Mike Sanders still. So, I don't know who would come in at this point and push those top end guys right now. And I mean, I do think, what you have right now is probably the best you can do at this point. I know there's like Xavier Howard still out there on the market, who I wouldn't mind bringing in because he could probably push those guys. But I mean, you just kind of roll what you got right now. Michael Davis, I mean, I do think he probably has the best chance to start of the other guys I mentioned, on the outside, the boundary corner. And reason I say that is, the defensive backs coach, Tom Donatel, was at Chargers with him last year. So I'm assuming he was kind of the pushing point to bring Michael Davis in here because he kind of knows what, Michael Davis knows what Tom wants to run, and, they know each other. They're familiar with each other from the Chargers. So he's a guy, like I said, I mean, I do expect him to start this year. I think Emmanuel Forbes is the one that's going to be having the uphill battle to climb to prove himself. I do hope Emmanuel Forbes eventually kind of comes in and takes that spot, because I would hate to see that be a wasted first round pick. And I still like the kid. I'm rooting for him, and I want him to get up there. But I do think that Michael Davis is one of those solid guys. It's a familiarity thing again. And I think he's the guy right now with the inside track to probably be your number one corner.
Yeah, I would hate that if he's the number one corner.
But what's the other option?
I mean, I hope that Forbes has his breakthrough with the rest of minicamp and like a little bit remaining of his offseason to go into training camp and preseason games and make the best of it. I think that I'm willing to bet, and y'all know I don't really gamble or whatever, but I'm willing to bet that Emmanuel Forbes has a turnaround season. I'm almost confident. I want to sit here and say he'll have more than 4 interceptions, because I just see them putting him in a better position to be able to do what he does. Like, I mean, we just looked at Deron Bland. Deron Bland is a 5th round pick out of what, San Diego State. Like, that boy ended up breaking the NFL record. I think he had 12 interceptions and 6 of them went for pick 6. Like, if they could put a guy like Deron Bland in those positions to succeed, why can't they do it with Emmanuel Forbes, who I think has all the intangibles to get that job done in particular? I'm not saying he's going to be Patrick Surtain out there and be a shutdown corner, but if you need a guy to flip the field, that's exactly the type of player that you want. He has the best hands in that secondary automatically. Like, I just feel like I even seen a quote from Joe Witt Jr. that said, we're teaching our corners to attack the ball, to go make plays on the ball interception wise, like not to go bat the ball down, but to actually get interceptions. So I think that's going to be an emphasis within the secondary. Ben is going into his last year of his contract with the Commanders. I think he needs to make more plays on the ball and get more picks. I think that will help him tremendously in his next contract, whether that be with Washington or another team. So I'm just excited to see how it all works, how everything comes together, because if they can get that pass rush down pat, it's going to allow the corners to break on the ball even faster. And Mual did a good job of showing you this week, like some stuff that Luvu brings to the table. If they can get guys like Luvu rushing the passer, doing stunts and all that, is going to force the quarterback to get the ball out. And you got a guy that had an NCAA record at Mississippi State for them pick 6s. So, look who it is.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man? Let me know what that connection talking about. I saw your text message, bro.
I seen y'all. As soon as I hopped in the joint, it fixed up. I seen y'all was outside with Santana, man. I see y'all.
We was
Especially
out
you,
here.
Drew. I was geeking at you. They was geeking. We was all geeking at you.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you better be glad you ain't see the pictures and videos that we had of Dre. You know, I'm saying kept them in the vault, right? It's like,
hey, it's all right, man. Hey,
Matter of fact, Shorty just hit me up yesterday. Was like, "Oh, your friend was so cool. Me and him had a great time dancing."
Hey, see, that's what I come out for. I come out for the ladies.
I was like,
the
yeah.
vibes, bro.
I was like, yeah, man, he was having a ball out there hitting his white girl moves.
Hey, Neil, how you feeling, bro? Can you hear me, Neil?
That
How
got
you?
me thinking. I don't know why. Maybe I think it's my connection. My connection is like choppy. Everything I say is in and out.
Well, all right. Well, let's kind of get to a large scale topic so you can just flow for a bit, man. What was your observations with boots on the ground, man? What's your observations on just the team? I don't know if you went to the OTAs or anything at all, but what you've been able to see in person, what's been your observation of the team, environment, players, anybody that stands out? Like, what's been your observations of the team?
I think you're asking me my observations. I don't know what it is, fellas. This is like really choppy.
Can you hear me or you can't hear Mo?
I can't even. I'm gonna exit and try to come back.
And come back.
I literally can't even hear it.
All right, do your thing, bro.
Yeah, so pretty much we're gonna ask Linnell about the minicamp today. He was out there in Ashburn, so we wanted to get you guys like a hands-on glimpse of what he's seen with his eyes, and also some of the players that he was able to interview. So I guess when he comes back, we'll be able to get him to elaborate.
Yeah, while we do that, let's think about this. All right, I think let's get this one more shot right quick. All right, hold on. And boom. All right, what we talking about? We sounding good right now. You can hear us. Oh Lord.
No, this is gonna kill me, nigga. Man, now I look like every time y'all actually
restart your device, whatever device you use.
Hold
just
on.
Restart it.
Yeah, let me text him right quick because if he can't hear it, then it may be the audio settings. Check your your audio.
It's not even that I can't hear. It's like it's lagging.
Oh, you could hear. Okay, damn.
Make sure you on your Wi-Fi if you're on your phone.
Yeah, you ain't on your neighbor's Wi-Fi or nothing like that, right?
Oh no, I got good Xfinity busting in this joint. We all good.
Oh, so you can hear now.
Yeah.
I think he said it's going in and out. All right, let's.
It's certain things. It's certain things y'all saying is coming in. Certain things is going out.
Just do this for us. Give us a recap of what you seen day one from the Commanders' first minicamp.
I got him, bro.
TV.
Check your phone, bro. Check your phone, bro. Check your phone, bro. Day one observation mini camp. This is crazy. All right, I'll try it that way.
Yeah. So because this is my first time being out there, I really it was hard to try to divvy up my time and where I was gonna go. But the first thing that stands out right away is minicamp, right? So it's helmets, jersey, shorts. So you're not really seeing a lot of contact. But what stands out right away is the energy on the coaching staff. There's so many former players on this coaching staff, from Sharif Floyd to Daryl Tapp to William Gay. On the offensive side, you got David Blau. And I just think the energy that they've got, they feel like they have the right people in the building to get this done. Now, I don't know how talented they're going to be as a team, but in terms of having the right mentality each and every day, the want to of being in the building, it feels like they're doing everything the right way from a camaraderie standpoint. I was checking in with the D-line a little bit the first few moments out there. I mean, that's the group that I really think has the most juice right now in terms of energy because Sharif, Tapp, and Kerrigan recently just finished playing for real. So, they're bringing it, and guys were just locked in and ready to go. That was probably my biggest takeaway, just energy from the coaches. It just feels like it's a new vibe out there and that everybody is on the same page and guys genuinely like each other. That was my first time seeing Jaden Daniels as well. He had one throw today. Let me just sum up his day overall first. I thought he was solid. He had a couple misses. One to Zach Ertz where he tried to hit him on a corner route and kind of left the ball short. There was one situation where he scrambled out of the pocket. It probably would have been a sack in reality, but this is where you see the arm talent and you see that this is a former number 2 overall pick. He gets flushed out to the right, and De'Ami Brown is being guarded by Emmanuel Forbes. It's like a 40-yard pass down the field. Jaden doesn't even stop to set his feet. He literally throws this ball on the run, drops it in the bucket, and De'Ami makes a ridiculous one-handed catch over Emmanuel Forbes, and it kind of shows you what he has the potential to be as a thrower. Now, from other folks that have been out there that I've talked to, he hasn't really taken off and run yet in the practices that have been open to the media, but what you're seeing right now is he is a pocket passer first, and I think Mual and the breakdowns that y'all did really highlighted that, and I was kind of late in the process to really even get hip to who Jaden Daniels was and how good of a passer he was. The release is quick. I think the timing is there with him and the receivers right now. They look good for a minicamp practice, but I don't want to put too much stock into it. But it was certainly encouraging to see him running with the ones. I don't know if that was something that was happening before, but he ran with the ones during 11-on-11 pretty much every time. So that was something that if people are monitoring whether or not he's going to start week 1. Y'all know how I feel about Marcus Mariota. He better be starting week 1. But yeah. So it was interesting.
I asked Linnell which players did he speak with today. I don't know if he can hear me, but I'm
Maul, I hear you clear now. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm repeating that for the audience. But who would you speak with today, man?
So I got the chance to chat with 3 different guys. One of the guys, local cat. I don't know if you all are familiar with Keandre Jones. Went to Good Counsel, Ohio State, and Maryland. Somebody that's had some injury issues at linebacker. He was formerly in Cincinnati, but that's just a personal catch-up. Somebody that I know the scouts are high on within the building. They think he can be sort of a late bloomer at linebacker and come in and contribute right away on special teams, but provide solid depth. I got to talk to Brandon Coleman post-practice, and it always, amazes me whenever you're on ground level with dudes. Brandon Coleman, when they drafted him on draft night and they listed him as a guard on NFL Network, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, wow, another guy that's a tweener that really isn't going to have a position that he's solid at. I genuinely think he is going to be the starting left tackle from week 1. I haven't seen him in pads, and you don't get to see the punch and the power that offensive linemen have without the pads on. But just from a pure size and girth standpoint, he's massive. He looks the part 110%.
No diddy.
I thought, yeah, no diddy. Right. Well, you get it.
Hey, look, I tuned it out. I tried my best to tune it out, bro.
AJ don't miss them joints. You better be on your game when you talk to AJ.
But no, I just think
he was on Brandon
it's hard to see. It's hard to tell and evaluate offensive line and defensive line during this period because there's no pads, but he moves really well. I thought, that was something that kind of surprised me. I've been listening to Logan Paulson talk about him having an oversetting problem. He looked fine out there to me. He had a couple of reps where he did really well against Dorrance Armstrong. You saw him lined up. He lined up with the first team a couple of reps. It feels like it's a genuine open competition at left tackle, though. We saw him take reps at left tackle. I believe Trent Scott was in the mix at left tackle, and then Cornelius Lucas was the guy primarily working with the first team. So it's going to be a legit battle, I think, all the way into training camp. But Brandon Coleman, I said it when he was drafted, and I started to dive in deep to his story. It's a JUCO kid that understands the struggle of what it's like to get to this level. So I don't think he takes anything for granted. He's a military kid that got moved around a lot in his high school years. So he gets the game and he's got the dog mentality. But even if they don't start him at left tackle, I think he's one of their best 5 offensive linemen right now. And I haven't seen him really do much of anything just from a physical standpoint and looking the part. He's got it 110%, which is contrary to Brayton Daniels last year. Brayton Daniels came in last year, and he's somebody I watched closely today too. He looked immediately undersized and didn't look like he can play guard simply because he was too small, but then didn't have the athletic ability to play tackle either. So I'm curious to see his development. But Brandon Coleman, I really was impressed just seeing him up close and personal.
Quick question for you about two guys. Since you were out there
Mhm.
today, day one of minicamp, did you see Cornelius Lucas play right tackle in any of these reps during minicamp? And also, was Jamin Davis a part of that defensive line group that you were assessing as well?
Yeah, so Cornelius Lucas was primarily playing left tackle. They had Andrew Wiley out at right tackle most of the time that I saw. Trent Scott took a couple of reps at right tackle as well, but Cornelius Lucas was primarily playing left tackle. I don't know how y'all feel about him. I think he's good enough to start you off at left tackle. I don't know how he would fare through a 17-game slate, but I like Cornelius Lucas. I think whenever his number's been called, he's come in and been serviceable. Not saying that he's some top 10 offensive tackle in the league, but you can get away with having him at left tackle if you've got a mobile, versatile quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who's going to elude pressure and make plays himself and make the offensive line look better just by being out there. The Jamin Davis thing is interesting. It's crazy. That's why I love being out there, seeing it for myself, because I have trained football eyes. It's annoying sometimes listening to people who may not. They're reporters, and there's no offense to anything that they do, but sometimes you miss certain things. Not only Jamin Davis took reps in nickel package with the first team at defensive end, and they have him standing up. So that was interesting to me that I never saw him with his hand in the ground. So he's getting legit real reps at defensive end. I don't think I saw him take a snap at linebacker during the 11-on-11 stuff. So they got a couple of different dudes in there. They're really high on Jordan McGee, the kid out of Temple. He was taking a lot of the second team reps at linebacker. Jamin was, though, primarily playing that left defensive end spot. So seeing him use his hands is going to be interesting, continuing to get reps and work on that. The only issue that I have, it's not even really an issue, concern, I guess I have with the entire defensive end rotation. They got a bevy of different guys that can each has like a twitchy get off, but like, where is our edge setter? Where is our guy that's going to be there setting the edge on first and second down on rundowns? I don't know if that's supposed to be Cleveland Farrell. He stood out a couple of times today. Dante Fowler had a couple of interesting rushes, but that's the one spot where I'm kind of curious if they bring in a veteran on the post June 1 to try to just give him another body in that room. But like, I think the way they're going to manufacture pressure is going to be running a lot of games and twists and stunts up front. We know that's what Dallas did a lot. And then when you have two guys on the interior like John Allen and Daron Payne, you gotta find a way, to get those guys favorable matchups. And I think they're going to run a lot of games and twists and stunts up front. But they're going to blitz a lot too. I think it's going to be a fast attacking defense. You saw Jeremy Chin today a couple of times off the edge, completely just blow plays up, being that guy that's sort of playing with the D gap and being on the outside of the defensive end. They've rushed him a couple of times. They're versatile in the secondary. I know people was, laughing and taking it for a joke when Joe Witt said they got 17 to 18 guys that can roll out there. I really do think they mean that. Something I did notice too, for a lot of folks monitoring the Emmanuel Forbes thing, every time during 11-on-11, it was Forbes and St. Juice on the outside with Sanders still in the slot. Sanders still actually broke on a ball that Jaden Daniels threw, deflected it, and then you saw Jeremy Chin scoop it off the turf. That's the play that I think they posted from today. So I like what he brings. He's as advertised in terms of like folks thinking he can come in and be one of the better nickels in the NFL right away. He's short, but he's stalky and has got size and good ball skills. So I'm more excited about what they have on defense, honestly, than what they have on offense. I think defensively, with the personnel that they have and how versatile they could be, they should be able to hit the ground running right away.
Well, and I got to say, man, I appreciate what you're giving us, because when I listened to Joe Witt's press conference last week, he didn't want to give us nothing. And you kind of giving us some things, like some of those questions
Going
about
in and
Jamin
out,
Davis.
you might have to relay your question to Mual, and then we can get the text.
Can you hear me?
I don't know why
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I got you now, Joe. I got you now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say, because I appreciate what you're doing, what you're giving us right now, because listening to Joe Witt Jr.'s press conference last week, a lot of the questions that were asked to him were, how were certain guys going to be used? And you're kind of telling us how certain guys are going to be used. Like Jamin Davis, you say he's primarily rushing. Oh, man. Well, Maul, I just get what I'm saying,
Yeah. We probably got
Can you
like
shoot? If we could do the
one or
text
two
thing,
more
that works.
questions, bro.
I can read
So we
I can read
can.
your question through the text real quick.
All right, what we got? What we got for Linnell, bro? You asking about
Yeah,
Jaden?
basically, yeah. I mean, well, I was going into detail about because he's giving us some good stuff about where guys are being used right now. I mean, I would assume that where guys are being used right now, that's probably what you're going to kind of see in the season, or that's what they're gearing up to do. So then that brings me to a tweet that Linnell had today that I actually read. Linnell put out there that after practice, Luke McCaffrey was receiving handoffs. And I got a little curious, and I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be something that we're going to see during the season. Do they kind of envision a Deebo Samuel type of role with him? Because obviously Anthony Lynn just came from the 49ers, where they use Deebo Samuel in that type of role. I mean, is that something we can see as one of Luke McCaffrey's duties?
All right, I sent every single thing to him.
Yeah, so I think I get the gist of what you're saying. So because honestly, I was hesitant to tweet it out because I feel like they be clocking my tweets trying to say
They
I'm
was
giving
probably
access.
on your ass.
Right, they ain't like that.
Oh yeah, they was, and the tweet is kind of going crazy right now. So I kind of figured it would do that, but no, it was weird because what I was told initially, and I'm not going to say by who because I don't want to throw them under the bus and make it seem like they don't know what they're talking about. But what I was told prior to me getting there was that Luke McCaffrey was the shoe-in for wide receiver number 3, and like he was for sure going to be the guy there. I don't know if the coaching staff is trying to like hide him in sort of the way Jay Gruden hid Terry McLaurin in his rookie year. But I'll start with the observation I saw after practice. Like it was him, Anthony Lynn, and another assistant, and they were simulating him coming in motion, taking jet sweeps. They were simulating shotgun snaps and him taking it and working the mesh point on certain stuff. He was taking handoffs. Take that for what it's worth. I just tweeted out what I saw. During the 11-on-11 stuff, I don't know how many first-team reps I almost called him Christian McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey took. It was a lot of De'Ami Brown. I think that position battle is wide open from what I see, but other people may say something different. They've been out there OTAs. I'm just out here for one day. But from what I was told is that, Luke McCaffrey was a shoo-in for the job, but I didn't see him take many first. He may not have taken one first-team rep today at wide receiver. When they were going with their 3 wide receiver stuff, it's Terry and Jahan. Well, it was Jahan and Jahan was in the slot, and then De'Ami and Terry were on the outside. So I don't know how that's going to roll throughout the season. I do know this, though. We're going to see a lot more 12 and 13 personnel getting the tight ends involved. So I don't know how much wide receiver 3 will actually be used. Alameda Zacchaeus was in the mix as well. So the receiver spot is going to be interesting because I think based on what type of offense they're going to run, they're going to play a lot of different guys. I think you may see 3 or 4 guys in the mix for wide receiver 3. But Luke McCaffrey, I didn't really see much of anything from him today. It was a lot of De'Ami Brown, who had a couple of catches, one over the middle. The deep catch that he had was a one-handed play. I'm surprised they didn't post it, probably because the play would have been a sack. But I think De'Ami is in a really interesting spot right now. He's the guy that, like, I feel like everybody talks about, and they're like, what if, what he should be, what he could be, not living up to expectations. He hasn't had a quarterback that's been able to get him the football, and we know what his primary skill set is, and that's running deep routes down the field. So I don't know whether or not he's going to be a big part of their plans.
I know we ain't gonna act like his former college quarterback Sam Howell wasn't throwing the ball out there last season.
Well, the whole offense was thrown out the window. I'm saying I think he is better than what the general public gives him credit for. One thing I know they really like about him is he blocks. The casual fan may not think that means anything, but like he blocked his ass off. But he got to catch the ball. I hear everything that y'all saying about him and everything that everyone else says. But I think he's a real legit deep threat. I don't think you can write guys off like that have size and speed. He's listed as 6'1", but I think he's like a real 6'2", and he's got speed. And he made a hell of a catch today. So maybe it's recency bias. I'm just looking off the one-handed catch that he made today, thinking that he's going to be somebody maybe that he's not. Another guy for wide receiver 3, too, that I think is going to be interesting. And I didn't see him. I wasn't really paying attention to much of his reps today, but Mitchell Tinsley, I think, is also going to be in the mix as well as somebody that can give you inside, outside versatility. But receiver is going to be interesting because with this offense, you probably need 4 legit guys that are going to be able to play.
And look, hey, can I speak on Diami real quick? I mean, because Diami's a guy. I mean, we had kind of expectation for him coming out. He was a 3rd-round pick out of North Carolina. But the issue with Diami, and I'm wondering if that's kind of getting rectified at this point, was his route tree. His route tree was very limited coming out of UNC, and you got to wonder if maybe he's finally starting to pick up those little nuances or how to get off the line better or maybe run different routes. Because, at UNC, the big thing was the go route. He's just going deep pretty much, and he's just beating college corners. But in the NFL, it's a little different. It's not going to just be easy to just run by NFL corners. So I kind of wonder with Diami if he's finally getting the NFL game. I mean, obviously, this is the year. This is the make or break year for him because I think if you can't do it this year, you're never probably going to do it in this league, or you're never going to probably show it. But I wonder if he's kind of one of those wide receivers that's a late bloomer or a late developer, and we'll probably see that this year if we'll ever see it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, all right. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. I think, I think something that has still had my concern at the wide receiver position.
Crazy.
Yeah, at the wide receiver position, I just feel like hopefully after this mini camp, they'll realize that, hey, we need to add another playmaker, because it seems as though from everything that we've heard, the intention was for Luke McCaffrey to be the slot wide receiver. But I've always felt like Jahan Dotson is best as a slot receiver. Funny enough, I ended up watching an interview John Keim did with Bobby Ingram, the wide receivers coach, and he kind of touched on that. And it sounds like they primarily focus to have Dotson within the slot. So if Dotson's going to play the slot primarily, who's going to be the outside wide receiver opposite of Terry? Because I don't think you want to go into the season with Diami Brown or Luke McCaffrey as your true number 2 in that regard. So it's a bit interesting how they plan on playing out that offensive side of the ball at wide receiver.
Let me see if Nanelle, did you hear that? Yeah, he ain't here.
Smiling, that means he hear that.
I'm just looking at his face, bro. It's so funny. Like
it looked like it be looking like he about to respond, bro.
Yeah,
but then it's just like, nah, I don't know what's going on. All right, bro. Look, I'll say this, and we can close out because I think we got enough information from Minicamp today anyway. AJ, I honestly think from a macro level that you are spot on in terms of just like you don't want to go into a season with that much uncertainty behind Terry. And I've said this before, like I'm a huge supporter of Jahan Dotson. I think last year he needs a mulligan after last year. I don't think that last year was a true indication of who he is as a receiver, but I can't be naive and tell you and people that's listening that he's going to automatically have a bounce back season like something spectacular. I can't sit here and tell anybody that. So I guess it's a wait and see with Jahan. But from a macro level, like it's so much uncertainty under Terry, and you have to ask these questions of where these other people are going to line up situationally. I do think that Luke has versatility from like him being able to play in the slot and outside. I don't think he'll be bound to one area. In terms of primary spots, I don't think that, like even Terry mentioned it in his pressure, that he's going to be moving around in the offense as well. They'll be having some motions that'll also change alignments in terms of where he'll be positioned. So I think that's something to pay attention to. But I think the overall question of, what do you want to do with that position? I think you're going to have to sit here and wonder, like, who else is going to step up? Like, you got a Mitch Tinsley. This is so crazy because I genuinely am forgetting who was after Mitch Tinsley. I don't think, and that's kind of to the point of like you gotta hope that some
you got a bunch of names. You got Jamison Crowder, you got Alameda Zakaris,
Jamison Crowder,
and I'm cool with
Tremaine too. He's the tallest receiver on the roster.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Rosemary Jackson.
I'm cool.
You got Dimitri Bird.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm cool. I'm cool with Zacchaeus. Like he could hoop. But he's not necessarily an outside guy. But I did forget about him. Zacchaeus is definitely a guy I'm cool with. Tremaine is interesting. And I think that those are some guys that you'll probably have to kind of pay attention to in terms of like who's really going to step up. But again, to AJ's point, that's from a macro level view. Like you're not necessarily looking at any threatening receivers. And honestly, bro, like when I think about Jaden and what he brings to an offense, I think the biggest thing of like having these problems at wide receiver is knowing that your quarterback can get you out of a lot of trouble. And I think that's kind of like the soft landing spot is knowing that if things don't go well at receiver, in terms of like the top, I mean, you got top end production, but after that, you got to hope your tight ends help you. You got to hope your running backs help you. But last but not least, your quarterback is a person who can make plays, create plays, and you got to hope that he knows how to take over a game if things ain't working out from a receiver perspective.
Man, the crazy part is if Terry gets hurt, Washington immediately has the worst wide receiver corps in the NFL. Like
all of a sudden hear you loud and clear now that you said that.
But I was going to ask, and Mual, I was going to ask Mual this question because I think I know how AJ feels about this particular question. But do you really fear Jahan Dotson on the outside? I mean, Linnell, if you can hear me, you can obviously answer this too. But do you fear, or do you that Jahan Dotson is a problem in a bad way on the outside? Like, I mean, do you think he can do it over there or get it done? And I do agree with AJ to an extent that I do think Jahan will be really effective in the slot. But are we really worried and concerned that he just can't do it on the outside?
I think the problem he got to get his releases. He got to get a deeper bag of releases. Like and it wasn't necessarily press coverage that was hurting him. Anytime people got hands on him, he has to be more effective using his hands. He was a lot last year, all hands, all feet and head, trying to like get people off of him. You got to use your hands more for him, especially as a smaller guy. I don't like him on the outside, if I'm being honest, like just because make it easier for him. I like him on the outside if you're going to motion him down and let him do Tyreek Hill type of stuff where you don't really let him get set before the ball snap and you just let him free release. Like that's what he needs. If he gets a clean release, Jahan could be a top 20 receiver if he could get off press coverage. He's got all the skills.
I don't mind him playing outside, but I do agree with the overall point. Like you got to get better at the line. One of my things when he came into the NFL was like, where do you put him exactly? Because first off, you're gonna have to, if he can't get off press in the NFL, like you already lost. Like that's a problem within itself. It don't matter where you line up, and that's why I think like when we talk about when AJ talks about putting him in the slot so much, I'm like, bro, like. You're gonna get hemmed up in the slot too. And like that's part of the problem with press. Like it really is about like you have to get off the line in the NFL level. And honestly, being in the slot, you're gonna see more aggressive coverage to begin with. Like obviously your boundary receivers, you're gonna see a lot of press, but also in the slot too. Like you get a lot of aggressive DBs in the slot as well. And I think honestly, when it comes to Jahan, you all said it, he has to get better at the line. And I think it was his receivers coach. And him himself, or no, it was Terry, receivers coach and Terry, who mentioned how, he was able to work his hands a little bit better in some of the practices that has already happened, which is good. It's your teammates right now, so you got to see this on a consistent level from other teams that you're playing. But the point is, like, if you've been working on something, especially with this press, your release moves, but also being able to use your hands at the same time, that's good. But it don't matter where they put you. If you can't get off the line, if you can't get off press, like you're in trouble. And that was one of my main concerns with him coming out to the league. But if you can hide him, that's going to be your stack releases. That's going to be your motions. That's going to be your bunches, like hiding them and things like that. Then you have a way to help him. But like, do you want to keep doing that? I don't know. But that's kind of where I am. Like, it don't matter where you put him, honestly. He has to get off the line better. All right, boom, there it is. Hey, that's gonna wrap it up, man, with the janky interview. It's nobody. I guess it was just one of them days, man. We're gonna have to spin the block again. Maybe maybe right around training camp time with the good man Linnell. Linnell, appreciate you checking in and even trying to rock it out for us. The first time we ever tried to transcribe an interview through text message, bro. That shit was crazy. but
You did a good job,
yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do, bro. You can find Linnell on Twitter at Nail_BT. What, hey, bro? What does BTP stand for?
Never. Let me answer that.
Beside the point. Okay. I don't know what Jay's about to say.
Stands for besides the point.
No,
BTP. BT, yeah,
Beside
the point.
Why it sound like you trying to say it like it's UPT, like how 50 said in that one song?
No, you know what I was gonna say.
But
no, hey, no, you know what I was about to say. I was about to say big talk player. That's what I thought it stood for, and I said, "No, wait a minute. That's what I would think of."
No,
I don't know if that's what Linnell thought.
Beside the point.
Okay.
Beside the point. It stands for something. I had this thing back in the day I was trying to do, but I just
that sound like a AOL screen name.
Nah, man, that was BTP Media Group, man. I got a little logo and all that for it.
Okay, damn, it is, bro. Yeah, revive that thing, bro. It's a perfect time to revive it, man. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Like I said, Linnell, appreciate you checking in, fellas. AJ, Dre, y'all take it easy. All 32 back on Thursday. The fellas will be back next week. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, that subscribe button if you haven't done so. Till next time, man. Peace.